Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you are well and thank you for your continued support. So Wes Streeting has said that in order to justify the millions, or the billions even, that the Chancellor has given to the NHS, he says that there has to be, it has to be balanced against reform, and then they have to be reforming the NHS in order to get the justification for this extra money. Now, as we all know, the NHS isn't in a very good state at the moment, and I found an article which I'm going to talk to you about. Now, of course, I'm not in any way having a go at nurses or doctors or anything like that. I'm not having a go at anyone individually in particular, but this highlights for me the way that the NHS is desperately in need of this extra money, and it's desperately in need of reorganisation, because this is just something that happens far too often. Let me take you over a look at the article. Okay, so this is about the Medway Maritime Hospital, which is in Kent, and the patient lies on the floor after a 12-hour wait for a bed. So this is the guy who's laying on the floor outside the X-ray room at Medway Maritime Hospital. The hospital apologised and added it was continuing to see a high number of patients who needed admitting for treatment. The staff were working tirelessly to provide the best possible care at a particularly busy time. Now, Martin's long wait for somewhere to lie down came during a 51-hour visit in which the 75-year-old from Bobbing in Sittingbourne was treated for pneumonia in one of his lungs. So he had to wait a while. So she called an ambulance on the 27th of October at 11, and because he was struggling to breathe, they arrived at the hospital at midday. So the ambulance got there really quickly, got him into hospital. At which point the 60-year-old explained to paramedics that the granddad of 4 was unable to sit down for long periods as he had multiple sclerosis. So that's what they told them anyway. At home, he was normally cared for by his wife. Despite her plea, they were sent to the A&E waiting room, which had nothing but chairs. While waiting for results of blood tests, which were taken at 1, Martin struggled to sit, and when his back pain became too much, tried laying down across the plastic chairs. At 6 p.m, a nurse told Martin that he would have to sit up as the seats were needed, Tracy said. At this point, she asked again how much longer it would be before the results came back, but was told there was that he had been wrongfully discharged. And there he is, laying across the seats like that. She said, if I hadn't been there to ask about it, like some of the other patients who were alone, Martin might still be waiting there now. But we were promised to see the next doctor available. Around an hour after this, they were seen by a doctor who prescribed antibiotics, as Martin had pneumonia in one of his lungs and he was put on a nebulizer. However, he needed an X-ray, so they both returned to the A&E waiting room at 8:30, and again, his wife asked for a trolley. He was in so much back pain that he was crying, she said, but we were told to be patient and wait for one to become available. Other patients could see he was in pain and offered their seats so he could lay down, and coats for comfort, and showed a sense of camaraderie. Around 11:30, he could not stand the pain and opted for the floor, so I took him to a quiet place outside X-ray and laid his dressing gown to make him feel comfortable. Half an hour later, the nurse I had been asking for a trolley came and said she's now had one. My husband struggled to get up and I struggled to pick him up off the floor. I wheeled him to the supposed trolley, but a patient was still on it. At 12:30, Martin finally received a bed at the Major's department, but was still in a corridor with no privacy. At 11 a.m. on Tuesday 29th, almost 48 hours after he arrived, he told Tracy he wanted to go home. Nurses said they needed the blood test results before he could leave, although that would be against their advice. By 3 p.m, Martin was fuming and discharged himself. She said, they said, you'll be back in a couple of days, but Martin said, I won't be, I'll be dead first. It was heartbreaking seeing someone I love put through that. It's disgusting that he's worked his whole life, paid all his taxes, done everything right, and he ends up on the floor with the rubbish. Now, this isn't an isolated incident. There are lots of stories of this, and as I said before, I'm not having a go at nurses or doctors in this situation. I know they're rushed off their feet. I know that there are huge waiting lists and huge queues in A&E departments, but really the government has got to do something more about this. They've got to try and be more proactive in the way they're doing this. They can't just say, yeah, we're going to give you this money, but you have to do something in return. They need the money to just get people through the A&E process without having to lay on the floor of the hospital. It really is just disgusting in my mind, and that's why I made this video on it. I really do hope this man is okay and his wife is okay. I really do hope that they you know, that he's much better now. I really do hope so. But let me know down in the comment section what you think. If you've had similar stories to this, do let me know, because it really is an atrocious situation, and I know it's not an isolated incident either. But let me know down in the comment section what you think.